what I want to talk about first tonight is the survey the edited survey. I want to talk about that tonight and see what people think. The agenda is the same one as usual. Brief updates, community outreach, etc. Let me pull up the survey. Okay. All right. Yeah, here it is. Okay. All righty. I'm just going to make edits in the document while we're chatting. So. Okay. And we can't use the chat. Okay. Share. All right. My computer doesn't want to share. If I do this, what happens? The person come in and said, I don't like this, and you had to take out all the boxes. Okay, that's not going to work. All right, fine. Well, if people, does everyone have access to the survey right now?
No.
It's in the Dropbox, correct? Or not Dropbox, Drive.
Yes,
Yep.
It's in the Drive, yes.
Okay.
So, Al, can you get onto the Drive?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, let's see. You can't get into the Drive. Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? You know what, Al? Okay. Don't know why this is happening. Why I can't search, why I can't share all of a sudden in this. I don't want to keep everyone here too long. Those tools. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go a little more with the blamed.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was your purpose? We were once I laid all those materials up.
Let me just make sure my settings are okay. Hang on.
You take on the administrative. Right. So we told it the team. Yeah. So they're done. I think I put it back in.
I know somehow my settings changed to my computer.
What happens when you click on share screen?
Basically, it comes up, but it doesn't show. It doesn't show any documents to share. Is what happens. That's the frustrating thing. You know what? Yeah. You know what? Could someone else? Let's see. How are we? Well, I wonder if Wendy, whoever, gave me. Let's see. Who's the host? Am I the host? Hopefully.
Linda, I can share if you want.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
I'm just checking to see if there's anything private here.
I know I was going to offer, but I have like 50 tabs open.
There's Elizabeth Ray. Great. So we're just looking.
My apologies for being late. I had something come up right around 6 that I had to address.
No worries. No worries. I'm glad you're here. Okay. So, all right. So there's the intro, and we'll add workshops, etc. If you can scroll down.
So we're thinking inspiration.
Okay. All right. There we go. All right. So general participant information. Please indicate which one best applies to you. And we have currently live in Holden, do not live in Holden, but used to live in Holden, don't live, but I work or volunteer in Holden, don't live in Holden, but I'm a business owner or other employer in Holden, don't live in Holden, but frequently visit the town. That's the first one. Then, which of the following best describes your current housing situation, home or renter, living with others, either paying rent or mortgage or not. And then if you're currently living in Holden and were to consider moving out of your current home, which following factors would drive your decision to move? We cut out a number of questions, and we paid a lot of attention to these questions and edited them a fair amount. Do people want to take a look and see if there's anything that we missed or anything that,
The only comment I have about this section
Yes.
is that the age question, I'm not sure how, but it ended up all the way down here.
oh, that's because I said, and this is really the case. I mean, I do surveys for a living. At least that's part of my job, and we always put the demographic questions last.
Oh, okay.
People don't like answering them.
Yeah.
So, once they're sort of in the groove of answering the questions on the survey, they seem to be a bit more amenable to doing that. So, anyway, so what about these first three questions?
Originally, we were going to title as much.
I sort of lost track of what we're going to do with this information because
We're going to
it's,
use it to sort of craft our community outreach, figure out, like, if, for example, if a lot of younger people say that maintaining your current home is too expensive, or if older people say maintaining my current home is too expensive, then we know that that's something that that might motivate people to move into multifamily housing, that sort of thing. Need a more accessible, wanting to be, let's see, that's the first one that comes to my mind. Or looking for a different home size that meets your needs. That's another one. Maybe we should add wanting to move out of my parents' home. Actually, I'm serious about that. Should we add that one?
no.
No? Okay. All right. Anyway, okay. I see Victor smiling. Okay, so
I'm agnostic about it.
they're agnostic. Okay. All right. My kid is going to be senior next year, and I asked him, and he's driving us a little crazy still. And I said, so where do you plan to live after college? Planning to move in with some friends? And he's like, well, don't a lot of people stay with their parents after college for a while? Which is fine. But anyway, all right. Holden's most urgent needs related to housing. Choose the top three. Affordable opportunities. And then we put affordable housing. I wonder if we should put here, now that I'm thinking about it, should we put here that the MBTA Communities Act is the plan created by the MBTA Communities Working Group does not include affordable housing? Should we put that here?
Again, it gets back to what's the purpose. So if it's collecting information for us to use, statistics kind of, then I'm not sure it matters. If it's to do the education part of it, then it would. And I was thinking that it says here's the survey, and we're talking about MBTA Communities Act compliance, and then you just got all these questions, and you don't really get to that piece of it. So till further down.
Yep.
I'm worried that people might be like, well, I'm not really sure what this is about.
So
'Cause it's not as advertised.
our discussion in the last week's meeting was you're going to have people who get the survey and just go, no, 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 no. And I think we started consolidating the real meat and potatoes of the survey towards the bottom, especially the do you support or support or oppose. I think our main thing was consolidating from 10 pages to it looks like 6. It looks like there's still some formatting that could be done, but definitely I think I approve of the changes so far that I've seen.
Let me ask you, would it make sense to, so my question was, should we put a footnote about the fact there's not going to be any affordable housing in this plan, or alternatively, or we could do one or both of moving the affordable housing question to the end?
I think you could put in under that second asterisk of the law does not allow the zones to be allowed for seniors only or allocate affordable housing.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to make that change on my version here.
Well, the law does allow us to allocate for.
Yeah, I didn't think that
Or
was.
mandate.
Yeah.
Yeah, require. Whatever.
I'm kind of an opinion that we kind of scrap both of these asterisks. instead of, I don't know, I feel like instead of trying to tell people what the law says, the MBTA Communities Act just sticks to a question about what people think are Holden's needs for housing.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of condenses the survey a little bit more
Oh,
too.
that's true.
To
That's a
Mary
good
Jude's
point.
point about getting people to this stuff as quickly as possible, I guess.
Right. Okay. That
I mean, if you
makes sense.
ask, and I'm sorry I missed the meeting last week. I apologize if I'm covering ground that you guys already did. If you ask the affordable housing question, then people are going to assume that's part of the deal.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Good point.
It's kind of a red herring.
That's a really good point.
So, I mean, James's articulation of it was good. I'm just, should it be here? What would we do with that information, given that that is not our task? Are we trying to suss out whether people are confused about it being, what's the intent behind that question?
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
This is still with regards to question 4, if
Yep.
the affordable housing is the need.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that could be a selling point for convincing people from a maybe to a yes or a no to a yes. If enough people say that it's a concern, and that they'll be their current status is a maybe in the final question that says, would you support this?
I don't think I quite follow you. Sorry, James.
I think I thought we wanted to include it to say if enough people check that box saying Holden's most urgent need is affordable housing, then that could be a selling point. If people don't answer affordable housing, then we don't say that as a selling point, I guess is my point.
Well, the thing is, we're not, it says affordable housing reserved for low to moderate income households. I mean, that I think it does intentionally refer to sort of state or federal programs that, have income limits and that sort of thing.
There's no provision in the MBTA communities bylaw that we're proposing that requires affordable
Right.
units, right?
Right. Correct. Yes.
Okay, there are none.
Yep. That's correct. I mean, I have to confess a little bit of curiosity about whether people would like affordable housing or not, but that's why I was suggesting just moving it to the end, and or putting I would definitely actually move it to the end, the last, and then have an asterisk. I would get rid of the 2 asterisks now, and maybe put an asterisk that the MBTA Communities Act plan, the Holden MBTA Communities Act plan, does not include a plan for affordable housing. Does that make sense? Or if people want to take it out altogether, I have to admit I have just a little bit of curiosity about whether people would actually like that or not. But maybe we're better off just not including it.
I like the question. I think it could be useful.
Could we move
I
it
just
to
think
the
we
end?
throw
Though?
it out to people and see what they say.
Yeah, could we move it to the end though, so that that doesn't stick in people's minds so much, and they think that that's what we're doing in this plan?
I think that would help.
Yeah. So I would just highlight the first one. No, I don't mean the whole thing to the end. I mean just
No, just moving affordable housing to the
moving
end of the
affordable
list.
housing instead of the very first checkbox.
Yeah.
Move it to the last checkbox. That's what I'm suggesting. Does that make sense, Victor?
No. Oh,
So
I
it
see.
says
What you're
affordable
saying.
housing
Yeah,
reserve.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And then would we want to put an asterisk that the MBTA Communities Act plan for Holden does not include affordable housing? Do we want to put that or not?
I'm inclined to say no on that, but
Anyone else have an opinion?
On the heart and added coordinating tile to tie together the penetrating.
Okay. All right. All right. Then I'm glad. Thank you for moving it to the end. Let's I guess we should just move on here. So good. I'm glad we eliminated some more space. That's great. All right. Okay. So then we have our 5 categories here. Um, yep. We didn't, I don't think we made any changes in this last time that I recall anyway. So, all right, next. Okay. All right.
Really be useful for that kind of. I think it's hilarious. Sorry about that.
I'm actually wondering,
It's not like.
I wondered if we can actually shorten this question. The MBTA Communities Law, also known as Section 3A of the Zoning Act. We don't need the also known as the Section 3A of the Zoning Act, do we?
I don't think so.
No.
Not
get
for
rid
this
of that.
purpose. Somebody's mic is picking up some conversations in the background.
Right. Okay. Requires the creation of zoning. So, and it uses this term missing middle housing, which is, something that people might be confused by. That encourages multifamily housing is what I would say.
I would say that, as well as the areas served by public transit, because we don't have public transit.
Right, yes. Okay. New mid-density?
I don't know.
Yeah. The problem with that is people don't really know what that means.
Right. I would just say
I would just say
multifamily.
new housing.
But yeah.
It doesn't
Multifamily.
necessarily need to be multifamily. It can be like triple deckers.
I was
That could
thinking
be
That
that
is
is
multifamily housing.
multifamily.
okay.
Yep.
I don't think you can get the density without having multifamily, so I think it's okay to say multifamily because
Yeah,
it's
and the law- I
the
think
only way it works.
I think, as I recall, the law says multifamily. Yeah, and triple deckers are, a smaller version of multifamily. In areas served by public transit, you could say, and adjacent communities, which is what Holden is. Okay, so housing, provides for people to live, work, and thrive in walkable
I mean,
neighborhoods.
this is a English major thing, but if you change it from the passive voice to the active voice, just say requires towns served by public transportation to create or adopt zoning that encourages yada yada.
Well, but I think it's also adjacent communities because we're adjacent. We aren't really served by.
Well, the RTA sends the little buses over here.
Oh, you mean the ones the senior center does?
No, I see WRTA buses riding around.
Really?
I don't think they're active. Yeah, I don't think we have any bus routes that go through.
Yeah. I
No?
don't, no. No. I've asked.
Almost
Peter about
positive that.
It's the senior bus has a WRTA logo on it.
Oh,
Right.
That could be
Right.
it then.
But that's just a program through the senior center, and you have to go through the senior center to use it, and you have to have
Yes.
your challenges with transportation. So it's not really sort of general public transportation.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, housing enabled by the MBTA community provides opportunities. Blah blah blah. Okay. How about we could get rid of that next sentence as far as I'm concerned. But what do other people think? Housing enabled by the MBTA. Blah blah. Not that one.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But what do people think? Because
Holden is classified sentence?
no,
This one.
housing enabled by the MBTA Communities Act provides opportunities
Yeah.
for people to live. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't need that sentence.
No, we don't. I'm sorry.
A good talking point, but it doesn't
Yeah.
belong in the survey.
All right. Holden's
Yeah.
classified as an adjacent community. Right. Okay. At least 50 acres. Okay. So the last part's fine, I think. However, the requirements of the law, potential penalties for compliance vary somewhat unaware. Right. Oh, other comment. Oh, that's interesting. He changed it. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Yeah.
Can you just delete it? What else
Yeah.
could you say?
I don't know. Maybe not at all. Yeah. Good point. Yes. We can just delete it.
I wrote the law.
Okay, I think that's fine. Okay. Okay, states determined that failure to create a zone meeting the minimum requirements would make hold, okay, certain grant programs. Okay. You know, I added, these are the 4 that are in the statute, and then the Executive Office of Housing and Local Communities has added, I think, at least a dozen more. But I was wondering if we want to maybe just put a list at the end of the whole survey if they want to see all the programs. What do you think? Just if they're curious what the dozen more are.
No, I don't think people will get, for this purpose, will they really drill down that far?
I'm thinking about the conservation people. I remember I met with the Conservation Commission to recruit you, Ken, remember? Is Ken still here? Oh, yeah. And when I met with them, we talked about, I had a slide with some of the grants that were listed, and they were relevant to conservation. And, you know, a couple of the group of the Conservation Commission members said, gee, you know, that we've been wanting to apply for that program.
Could we, is there
Sorry.
a short link that we could include here that brings people to the full list?
Oh, good question. Let me see. Really good question. Okay.
You could just say full list of programs, grant programs at risk can be found here or something like that.
Hang on a second. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, now this is AI telling me, but I need a website. Hang on. Resources for MBTA community first round. Okay. Okay. Updated guidelines. That's 2023. I feel like there are more now. Okay. This is full. A lot of blah, blah, blah. You know, we could put it on the town website. We could put them on the town website and, you know, link it to the town website when we have a web page on the town website. Would that make sense? If I can't find a good website?
Are you talking about the webpage that Ron was going to potentially help develop and? 'Cause
Yes.
that does seem to me to be a logical place to put. I mean, because you could almost have something like that link attached to a couple of the questions on this survey, just in case people want to have a convenient point of access to more information, where we're just trying to gather information.
Right.
I think having some general depository of this kind of thing would be helpful, but not necessarily part of the survey.
Right.
Right.
I think. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't. Who was
No, I was just going to say, if it's one place, it'll be easier to keep putting the link in without having to have multiple places.
Right. Good point. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see. The state has determined that failure to create a zone requirements make. Okay, we got that. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So then the next question is the Office of the Attorney General has stated any community not complied may be subject to legal action, financial penalties, appointing an outside agent. If you can put a space between outside and agent, that would be great. In the last line of the question. Yep, there we go. Thank you.
And is this going to go live before the end of the year?
I would doubt it, but
So maybe we just take out by the end of 2025?
oh, good point. Okay, yeah, that does make sense because I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. Great, thank you.
That being said, though, isn't that a actual deadline that we are being held to? And
Yes.
even though
Said.
even though the language says may be subject, it is, even though it comes out afterwards, unless we want to just change like the tense or something of the question. But
Let's
I think it
see.
is an important fact that we are already at risk because we're late.
Right.
And so maybe there's just some phrasing that could be changed so it doesn't sound like we're not really up to date with our wording, but in fact it is an increased threat. Now that they're going to see
Right.
this in January or whenever, and
Right.
we were already behind schedule.
Yes. Let's see, the off.
Oh, but I mean, I think it doesn't matter. Any community that has not complied with it may be subject to legal action. We have not complied. Everybody knows we have not complied.
Right.
Or do they not? I assume everybody knows we didn't comply because it was rejected at town meeting.
You both raise good points. Not complied. Okay.
It doesn't matter to me.
We
I'm
could add
just,
at the end, the deadline was,
I don't know. I don't think we should add. I think we should only subtract at this point.
okay, I think, okay. I'm okay with leaving it without that by the end of 2025. So,
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's a minor, in the end, it's a minor piece of information.
It is an educational point when we get to that. I'm not sure it matters when people are looking at something and just trying to answer the questions to get the statistical information that we're looking for.
Right, like, yeah, like I was saying before, I guess if you think my thoughts about it, we're trying to gather information a little bit more so than providing a ton right this minute, so
right.
Yeah.
Right.
that's fine.
Okay, so, all right, so then the next comes the map. I think they might have changed, not this map, but the next map. Okay. Don't know if we're gonna need titles for these. Halsted, Newbury Drive. Let's see. Oh, it says below there, Newbury Drive section. Okay. Okay.
I really would
Yes.
love to see these maps have a little bit more context.
Right.
Like, I can't tell what's happening at this site right now
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
unless you know the town really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know where this is,
Right.
what's surrounding it or anything.
Right. Right.
Could you, could they overlay it instead on the ortho photo?
We did ask that last time. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they can't do it or just haven't done it. But the
I
other
think they
option is
said
to
they could
provide-
overlay the structures, but the ortho is a taller ask. That's what I recall.
I'm going to write a note to myself to email Ron about that.
The other possibility is we add like a 2-sentence description of what this site is.
I was gonna say you can add just a small map. It doesn't need to be bigger than like a quarter of the size of this one, and then that's just of Holden and just shows the rough area of the parcel.
Yeah,
like a circle. Or,
The locus
or right
map. Yeah, it's called a locus map. They should be able to do that easily.
yeah, it wouldn't take up much space, but that would solve a lot of
You
uncertainty.
can even do it in the corner of the, you're talking about the corner of the map, just a little inset.
Yeah, that would work too.
Yeah.
Locus map. Yeah, locus map. Okay, I'm writing a locus map of parcels. Okay.
I'm kind of surprised they can't just, it's just you switch the view on Mass Mapper. Was it that they couldn't translate it like it was too small and squished to put on here?
They should really be able to put it in aerial very, very easily.
Yeah, I don't understand why that.
I'm assuming they're using ArcGIS or QGIS. They just switch the base map and that's it. They're done.
Well, you can do it, you can just do it on Mass Mapper. You can do it online.
Yeah.
Victor, would they be able to, or Mary Jude, maybe you know, would they be able to calculate the number of acres that are currently occupied by the existing buildings and parking lots or whatever?
So count up the area of the existing buildings?
Yeah, that's currently occupied. Should they
Yeah.
be able to do that?
I think
Fairly
they can-
easily. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to measure it and calculate it.
I could do it right now on the town's ArcGIS or GIS
Oh, you
system.
can? Oh,
You just measure the area.
okay. How
Do
do
you want me
you
to
do
show
that?
you?
Yeah, I would love that. Very,
You can
I'm
do
learning a lot about the
distance.
GIS.
You can do distance between points. You can do.
Okay,
Yeah, I think the town's GIS is 10 times better than whatever they're using.
really? Huh. I don't know what else they're using.
In terms of functionality, I would
Yeah,
say,
this company, Maps Online, they make
Yep.
a lot of town GIS systems and they're very good.
Uh-huh. Huh. Good to know.
Very, very nice to use.
Oh, good to know.
Not on your phone, but yes. On a
If you
computer.
go to find Victor,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's
and
the
you do Newbury
address?
Drive, it comes right up. So you see those existing buildings there? I'd love to know how much acreage they occupy right now.
Yeah, I just want to turn on the aerial right now.
Sure.
I can't remember where it is.
If you do base maps and then do any of the 2019
Oh, yeah,
Mass
there we go.
GIS, yeah, or 2020, any of them work.
Ah, okay.
One has dormant trees, one has one was taken during the winter, one was during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the measuring tool?
Bottom right.
Oh, yeah. It always
look at
messes
that,
with
Leah.
me. Why is it there? It's not absolutely exact, but
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're really good with that cursor. I could never do that.
I couldn't either. That was in the bottom right-hand corner, you said?
I wouldn't include what you're including now because that's not part of the parcel. The parcel is only north of the road.
But you know why I'm doing this? I'll tell you why.
right.
Because one of the people who's not on this committee who's helping with some of the she's giving me input on a presentation that I'm doing, like a PowerPoint, souped up our PowerPoint that that's better than the one I gave at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. She's helping me with that, and she's also helping me with some of the background statistics. So she's looking at the she's looking at information, publicly available information from the assessor's office that that says that the that Halstead Apartments paid something like $545,000 in taxes last year. Something like that. So we're trying to figure out how much is paid per acre is what we're trying to figure out. So if only, part of it is, if only part of the area is occupied, then they're, wouldn't they be paying, only for the acreage occupied by those units? Am I making sense?
Well, a parcel is assessed on both the land and the improvements.
Yeah, you'd have to ask the assessors.
So you'd have to, I mean, you can see on the property card, you can see how much the land and how much is the structures, but why does it matter?
Well, so they own about 90 acres. Okay. They own about 90 acres, and the question is, are they paying, to what extent are they paying taxes on those whole 90, on the entire 90 acres, and to what extent are they paying just on the parts that, how much per unit, I guess she's trying to calculate how much per, well, no, we know the number of units. She's trying, all she said to me
I'm
was.
not sure.
I'm
Yeah,
listening.
I mean, you can see how much the land is worth and you can see how much the buildings are worth. You can't subtract out this is probably Victor better to talk about this, but you can't subtract out the land that's under the buildings, and then whatever they're charging, they've probably done their own math in trying how to recoup the property taxes as part of their carrying costs.
Ah.
So, I'm not sure anybody would do the math, that it's meaningful math.
The assessors might have that breakdown, though. I mean, they don't give you all the information here, but they might provide a per unit valuation.
Ah, okay, that's really helpful. Thank you.
I would say the current coverage is useful. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Yeah.
indifferent on the tax, but I would say the current
spatial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
because I think the current value is 40% maximum. So I mean, what is this as a percentage of the 11 acres? What's the number on the bottom right of the screen?
307,509 square feet.
I got to convert that to acres.
So it's like 5,000, is it 5,280?
Divide.
43,560.
Okay.
Linda, I can do this exercise, bringing in shape files from the Mass GIS into AutoCAD environment fairly readily. Right, not right now, but it may take a few minutes, but
So-
it has all the, not the footprints,
Yeah.
but the roof prints of the buildings and contours, wetlands, all that good stuff.
I think I think the road, I don't know if that would be included, but 300,000 is 7 acres out of 11. So it's already over the 40%. And I bet it's pretty damn close for that area.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Thank you. Good to know. That's really helpful. Thank you.
And I think the lot acreage was something, I know I requested it. I don't know what the final consensus was, but
Well,
I don't see that anywhere on here.
the lot as a whole, on the parcel, maybe I should say, the parcel that they own is 90.22 acres. That much I do know.
But how much is zoned in this area? Just somewhere that says 11-acre zone.
This is, yeah, good question. Good question. Yeah. I don't know. So,
A good portion of the easterly is wetland too.
Yeah, a lot of wetland.
so, alrighty. So anyway, let's see what else. I think at the bottom, thank you for putting that note in there. That's really helpful. Can you go down? I think we're almost done. The other, okay. I think we need an updated map there because he added more acreage. The 39 acres now instead of the 28. So there's our age categories. Then after answering these questions, how likely to support the zoning change being proposed?
Linda, I definitely take your point about having the age at the end from a
Yeah.
surveying perspective.
Yeah.
I just found it jarring that it's like, oh, here's a very, specific question about the MBTA proposal, and then how do you feel about the MBTA proposal? And right in the middle, there's a question about age.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just wondering
maybe,
if there's a slightly different way we could organize it.
maybe we could put the age at the very end before, if you're interested in receiving additional notifications or something. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Or we could add some of the questions from here.
Well, I would just put it at the very end by itself is what I would do.
Okay.
But that's just me, but yeah, that's typically what we do. I mean, I think it is interesting to know how people feel about these things based on their age. I mean, because if I go talk at the senior center to the seniors,
Yeah, it is usually like the last question that you get to on a survey. So
Right.
if it's the last question here, I mean, what is the actual last question?
it's 11, I think.
So between 11 and 12?
Yeah.
Just move it down in between the two of those?
Yep.
Does that help you, Victor? What do you think?
Yeah, that works.
And then can, oh,
I'm just changing the language a little bit.
okay. You don't tell them in the survey what an overlay. Did we tell them what an overlay is? They may not know what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, we all now know what it is.
Maybe we just get rid of that and say the
Yeah.
MBTA community zone being
Yep.
proposed.
Yep.
Okay.
I did talk about overlays in the fact sheet that's coming up, or the myth busting the MBTA.
All right. Are we done with this
I
one?
think so. Great. Okay, thank you.
Were we calling them districts at some point or zones? Why am I may be confused with
Well,
something else.
there's language in the law, I think, about districts.
What did the thing that the planning board, what was their language?
I want to say parcels, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, for some reason, district sticking in my head. And if that's,
I'm pretty
if that's
sure
what's being, if those are the words they're going to hear at town meeting or planning board, select board, we should just use the same words, not,
Right. Let me
I
think.
mean,
about
it
that a
is
little.
zoning, but typically zoning is a district.
Right.
I kind of use all those terms interchangeably at work.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think you're right. We should use whatever predominant term is being
It's-
kicked around in
and stick
Holden
with
town
it.
government.
Yeah, let's just,
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I can talk to Peter about it maybe and see what he has to say. Oh, there, before I forget and before we move on, I meant to give you an update. That Peter and Dave, the town planner, are going to try to submit our plan for pre-review to the state. There's a mechanism for getting pre-review so that you know whether they're going to approve whatever you take to town meeting, which I think would be really helpful, hopefully, in getting it passed. I'd like to think that people will just be glad to get this over with and get it behind us if in fact they accept our proposal.
so what is it exactly? They submit the language that the planning board approved along with the actual
think so.
plans themselves so they can see the parcels? Is
That's
the
my
whole,
understanding.
the whole package, not just
That's
the
my
words of the zoning bylaw?
That's my understanding.
Has the state ever rejected one?
I wish Peter was here. I do not know. Do you know, Victor?
I don't know that the state has rejected one that was already passed by a town, but they've certainly seen draft plans that towns were thinking about passing and identified deficiencies in those plans. So
Does it benefit us or hurt us to be getting this done before a vote then?
It only benefits us.
I
Because
think so too.
the state will just tell us this won't comply or this will comply, and maybe even give us guidance on what we could tweak to make it
Yeah.
comply.
Right.
And just the sense I have, just my job is on the periphery of these things. They're kind of impatient. I mean, I think that there's not going to be a whole lot of forgiveness at the end of the day if this doesn't work. It's easy enough for them to come in and say, "We have the maps. Here you go."
Right. Right. Sadly, yes, that's right. So, yeah. So I think getting pre-review could be really helpful one way or the other. I mean, if they don't like what we've done, as long as they tell us what they don't like and give us a chance to fix it, I think that would be great. We just don't know how long it'll take them to review it.
Yeah, hopefully they don't want us to be over a barrel and they would try to help.
Wouldn't that be nice? So, wouldn't that be nice? Yes. So we'll see what happens. All right. So I wanted to make sure I'd mentioned that to you. Okay. So let's move on to our myth busting the MBTA, and it's called Holden version. If you don't mind doing it again, Victor. All right. Okay. All right. So I took this. Elizabeth had found a sort of a general myth busting the MBTA document, which I think was on the MAPC, is that the Metropolitan Area Planning Council website, which is I don't really know exactly all the details about what they do. They do metropolitan area planning. Victor, are you familiar with them at all? Or Mary Jane?
Who'd you say?
Metropolitan Area Planning Council?
Yeah.
Can you talk?
I haven't worked with them closely, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're just kind of a regional planning agency.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's helpful. Can you make this a little bigger
Sure.
for those of us with aging eyes?
Well, maybe. I'm not sure how to do it in Google. Oh,
Put
here
a
we
view,
go.
maybe? Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. That'll do it. There, thank you. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. It's
Oh,
easier.
sure. The language of the MAPC one was very general and applied to lots of different kinds of communities. And I think people here would like to see one that's specific to Holden. And this is still a work in progress, obviously, but it was a start. So anyway, now somebody said to me, well, why don't you just do an FAQ? I mean, I sort of see this as an FAQ in a lot of ways. So
What's the problem with calling it myth busting?
well, someone just said, I don't know, someone thought maybe calling it an FAQ was, I don't know, they thought it was better. I don't know. But I like myth busting myself.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it would look sort of like an FAQ if instead of having, or, keep the different color font, but myth, the state is requiring us to build all this housing. Fact.
Yes.
Myth, fact.
Right.
Instead of QA,
yeah.
if you're going to
Yes.
go with the myth busting language, here's the myth, here's the fact.
I will say personal statement. If I'm outvoted, I do think myth busting in my mind sounds a little bit more, what's the word? Like you're telling me how to think, not necessarily like frequently asked questions make it a little bit more,
More neutral.
I guess impartial.
Yeah.
Like it's the same document, but myth busting in my mind makes it sound a little bit more partial, a little bit more one-sided. That's just my opinion. If you guys feel the opposite, I'm fine to be overruled.
That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of that.
No, I get what you're saying, James, because it's kind of, I'm not sure if it's taking sides as much as it's being judgmental on people who believe things that aren't true. So
Yeah, good point.
it's less a myth and more of a misconception or lack of information
Right.
than mythology. I think that's right. I think the word's a little loaded.
Those are excellent.
But the point is, we're answering questions to dispel some common misconceptions.
Right.
Or to provide additional information to clarify or things like that.
Right.
Which is a lot longer than myth. But
I mean, we could just say
That doesn't have the same ring
misconceptions
to it.
about the MBTA communities law in Holden.
Let's see.
Alternatively, you could go with fact checking the MBTA communities law and Holden, leave the blue just as it is, and then start the black with fact and a colon.
Well, the blue is sort of what people might believe, which is not true.
Right. Yeah, so that statement sits by itself. The state is requiring us to build all this housing. Then next paragraph, fact, colon, and the explanation. So if you start, if the title of the whole thing is fact checking, then that kind of a scheme.
Or to James, if you do Q&A, the question will be, is the state requiring us to build all this housing? The answer will be no.
Yeah.
You said fact checking. I kind of like fact checking instead of facts about fact checking. Is what I kind of like that. I
think that's a good.
Yeah.
Good use of words.
State's requiring us to build all this housing. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the only thing with this is then if you're calling this out as a fact, then it's kind of implying that if you think this, you're not thinking facts, you're thinking falsehoods.
So
which comes back to what
that's
James
exactly
was
the point.
concerned
I
about.
think.
What about
I know,
we could rephrase the blue.
The judgy part.
Yeah, we could say, does the state require us to build all this housing?
Yeah, I think we have to end up at the FAQ methodology, maybe.
Right. But I think it's totally fine to say question, no. Question, no. So all the answers, no, but I mean, if that's the idea is the term we're not using, but the myth busting is you have to have all the things that are incorrect and say that. I mean, that's the message. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Just to be consistent that any of these things are, this is what we're trying to correct the misperceptions.
I think for better or worse, the words fact checking have too much of a political connotation. I get this is political, like in the sense of the MBTA Communities Act, but just trying to steer away from those words might say it a little bit better. But yeah, we're back to frequently asked questions. So
Mm-hmm. Yes, good. Okay, good. Oh, good. I like that. Good, good. I like that. All right.
As long as the first word in the answer is no.
I don't know if all these are going to suit it to be. I don't know if all these are suitable to know because some of them are somewhat research focused.
Okay.
So, okay. All right. So anyway, well, we can start here. Okay, and then so the next one is
I don't think everyone's going to know what a special permit is, so I kind of want
okay.
to say discretionary approval.
I don't know if anyone's going to know what discretionary means.
Okay.
That's why I put a special permit. I was
Okay.
trying to make it. I was trying to make it at least somewhat plain language or plainer language.
I mean, maybe you could just say board approvals. I don't know.
What's wrong with special permit?
Do people know what special permits are, like widely?
I
Well, I
don't.
mean, to me, it's a general term that like you have to, you know, um, to me, it's actually a more general term than a lot of other terms. You know, a special permit. People understand that it's something
But
extra you have to do.
but
Am I
do they
right?
need to? Do we need to even talk about permits? They may
Well,
build multifamily housing. Period.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Couldn't we just chop that last phrase off?
Oh, maybe.
They may build, especially
Okay.
with may and bold, it kind of clarifies that
Mm-hmm.
it's just going to be an option on those parcels.
Okay.
Um,
Get rid of what?
Not, I guess the conversation Holden hasn't gotten to this point necessarily, but I mean, people might say, because the key point of the law is that it has to allow multifamily housing by right, so
Yes.
not by special permit or by any other discretionary approval.
Right.
So maybe if we don't, I mean, people might be like, well, why can't we create the zone and require it all by special permit or by some kind of discretionary approval?
Right. I was trying to avoid the as of right because I think that's technical language as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was to me, a special permit's is relatively plain language. If people get it, I think people understand that.
What about property owners may build multifamily housing regardless of the current zoning?
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry, too
to me
lawyerly.
that doesn't work, but
Well, no, because we're creating the zoning to allow it, right?
right.
Well, but it's an overlay.
Yeah, I talk about overlays later, just so you know.
Yeah.
I think let's
can
just
we-
keep it as written. I think
Thank you.
we can't.
Thank you. All right, so then we value the small town character of Holden. The state wants to take away our town's ability to control development in our community. Okay, so as you can see, I bolded the fact that the Holden Planning Board still has the power to enforce our local zoning codes. And then I bolded, actually, I probably could bold a maximum height of 2 to 3 stories too. I bolded,
I would just say the foot, 30 feet or whatever, 30 or 35 feet, whatever it is.
yeah, I was a little confused by
I
looking.
think people can understand 2 or 3 stories better, height-wise.
The thing is stories is not written in our code. The height is.
I can maybe put that in parentheses. I was a little confused when I looked
Yeah.
at the zoning and regulations because I saw 35 in one place and 40 in another, and maybe I just need to go back and reread them and see, if 35 applies to one type of housing and 40 applies to another. But I was trying to make
Yeah,
it
if you
simple.
put in parentheses about 2 or 3 stories. Is that what you were saying, the parentheses would go?
No, I was saying I could put 35 to 40 feet.
All right, whichever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
whichever.
Well,
parentheses.
what is the height maximum?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. I thought I saw. Okay, granted, I'm new at reading zoning regulations, and one thing I have to check is whether the ones up on the website are still the valid ones because we changed our zoning regulations about a month ago, or no, not a month ago, a few months ago. Yeah, a few months ago. I think our zoning. Okay, approved. Okay. Oh, here we go. But these are just the amendments.
35 feet, 2.5 stories.
Okay, great. 35 feet, 2.5 stories. Okay.
Oh, it does say stories. Okay, I stand corrected.
2.5 stories. Okay. 2.20. Okay. 30. How do you have half a story?
It's probably defined somewhere
Dormer.
else in the ordinance where half a story is either a basement or an attic, as long as it doesn't extend too far above the ground or the attic's
Uh-huh.
unfinished, blah, blah, blah. There's various ways to define that.
Okay. All right.
It might be whichever comes first too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that case,
Okay. So we could just say 35 feet. Okay. Let's just say 35 feet.
Well, we could say
Then-
35 feet or
Yeah,
2.5 stories. Okay.
because, yeah, people don't know what 35 feet means.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That means, because I was going to use a picture of the residences at Holden Hills, that big yellow building at 1818 Main Street. I was going to use that as an example, but that's three stories. So that actually, I guess, would be too tall for under
I'll
current.
I'll come out with my rangefinder and check the height of it.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. From continuing to use. Okay. Okay.
So what decade is it? The decade? Was it a particular 10-year period that they,
I don't understand the decade part. I'm sorry.
it says, research shows that it does not account for the changes in school enrollment seen over the decade.
Oh, okay. I'll double check. Which decade we're talking about. And this
Well,
I
or
need
do
to
we
change.
need it? Does not account for changes in school enrollment.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I think my recollection on reading some of that stuff too is that they trend enrollment by decade, right? So it's not a specific decade. It's that if you look at the last 30 years of enrollment trends by decade, in a 10-year span, the changes are not terribly significant if you are screening for changes based on
Yeah.
new housing units. So you're right that the language might be confusing to people, but if there's another way to say that, like it's not going to be 1 year or 2 years, you're looking at a long-term trend and the data doesn't back the idea that there'll be a huge influx over a long-term period.
Yeah. If I don't like this and I'm going to pick holes and I'm going to say, well, what did you look at the 1970s? Well, what were you looking at? What decade are you
Right,
talking
yes.
about? Because it sounds like you're
Well,
cherry.
that's what I'm thinking about, maybe long-term versus, I don't know, maybe long-term versus short-term.
Well, let me just say some of this is a placeholder for. I'm hoping. Cross your fingers. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. I'm hoping that that I can get some Holden focused numbers here. I'm not sure it's going to work out because what I've done is I've gotten Peter to get Dave to identify all of the so far the apartments in town, the apartment buildings of four units and up, and I also asked for condominiums, and between us, he gave me a little bit of pushback on the condominiums part. And he said, what's it matter? They're not going to be able to build, anything much bigger than apartments there anyway. given the density. I'm going to nicely try again. I know it's burdensome. I mean, I'm Dave George. I'm sure has plenty of things to do besides go through whatever lists he has about, like condos that are in Holden. I'm sure he has other things to do. But I'm going to ask nicely again because what I'm hoping for, there's a study that the town of Winthrop, which I think is one of the resistors, did. I don't think it was MBTA specific necessarily. Maybe it might have been. It might have been, but they looked at their. They looked at. It looks like they got detail from their school committee about the number of kids per unit on average, which came out to 0.19. That's Winthrop. It's not the same as Holden necessarily. It's smaller, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what I'm hoping to do is to give the list of apartment buildings and condos to the either get the number of kids in all those units from the town, or give the town give the town the information about which each of the apartments and condos, along with the number of units in them. So either we divide their data by the number of units, or they divide the number of kids by the number of units. I want one of us to calculate it. I just don't know if they're going to be. They had said that they would give us data. I just don't know if they're in this heated discussion over about the MBTA Communities Act, whether they're going to be willing to do that. But my first step is to ask nicely again, what for the list of the condos. That's my plan. So.
I don't understand why it's different. It's just the type of ownership. One person owns an apartment building and 10 people own a 10-unit condominium building. What's the, because they have to count all the condos are taxed separately, and that's how they can't figure it out.
I think he just, it's a lot of time, right? I mean, this list of apartments is pretty long, I have to say. I mean, I think, condos are more permanent kind of housing, right? Or
No.
No, not more than
No.
apartments?
No, it's just you could take an apartment building. It happens in cities all the time. They take an apartment unit and they turn it into condos. It's
So do
just
not-
you own your apartment. That's
condos-
Ownership versus rental, that's all.
it's just ownership.
Right, okay.
It's
But-
totally not about anything structural or physical of the units.
I understand I understand it's ownership versus renting. I do understand that, but if you buy a condo, isn't it more of a long-term commitment? I mean, you get a
People flip
loan.
houses all the time. People flip condos. I mean, it has,
Huh, okay.
people rent apartments for forever.
Right, that is true.
I mean, again, in cities, I mean,
Yeah,
people are in their same apartment for decades.
right. That's true, I guess. So,
I mean, it may be different in Holden. I just don't think you can make those kind of generalizations. I think there's a number of units and there's a number of kids, like you're saying, whichever way you do the math, but there's
Yeah.
there are a number of units and there are a number of children.
okay. All righty. Maybe I'm wrong about that then. So, let's see. Victor stepped away for a minute, it looks like. But anyway. So this is the placeholder in case I can't. Oh, there he's back. Good. This is the placeholder in case I can't get anything better or more Holden specific. So anyway,
Linda, if that's the case, could we maybe consider changing the wording on that sentence that Mary Jude raised? It did say something like, does not account for the changes in school enrollment seen over a multi-year period.
that's a good idea. Over a multi-year period, yes.
It allows us to be a little bit vague, but
Yes,
it is
yes.
accurate. They're not looking, that stuff that I looked at definitely has many years within one trending period, not just 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah, thank you. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. Great. Okay. All right. Okay, won't new development cause additional traffic in our community? MBTA working group took traffic into account when selecting the sites. So I talked about how 2 parcels in the plan are located in Jefferson and Halsted. Drivers in both these sites have alternative routes for getting into town, to Worcester, and to the highway. Then Al, I added your language about, Al found a study that said that multifamily units generate between 0.32 and 0.51 vehicle trips per dwelling unit during peak traffic hours. Maybe you could get rid of the day, just get rid of the and get rid of the day, just during peak traffic hours, I think we could just say.
Do people have thoughts about the first response to this question and this question?
Oh. I wouldn't put to a limited extent in the second one.
Should we put anything? We could just jump right into the explanation.
I would just jump into the MBTA community working group.
Because it would be a lie to say it won't have any traffic impacts at all.
No, that's right. Well, we said that.
Yeah.
We didn't say that though. We didn't say it wouldn't have any traffic impact. We said it.
No, I know.
No, but to the point where I thought all the answers should start with no. I don't.
Right,
think
we
this
can't
one-
just say no, yeah.
No, we can't just say no. I agree with that. That's why I thought maybe that wasn't the best thing to do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we have Halsted on Salisbury Street. Do you want to say the 2 parcels in the MBTA CA plan are located on Main Street in Jefferson?
Oh, yes. Well, no, it's not located on Main Street though. I don't think. Is it? Wait, yes, it is. I'm sorry.
The
27.
frontage I thought was on Main
Yeah.
Street.
You're right. It is. But I think that hurts us actually. Because they'll say, oh, they're going to take Main Street into town. When in fact, yeah, I wouldn't say that. Personally. Because then they're going to say, oh, they're going to take Main Street. Even if we say that they have alternate routes, they'll say, oh, look, they're going to take Main Street.
Not if the traffic is as bad as everyone says.
I was going to say, not when they get to Sunnyside, they're all going to turn and go down Newell Road where I live because they want to avoid the Starbucks.
That's right. That's right. So. Okay. All right. It sounds like people want to keep the Main Street piece in there. Is that right?
To the extent that people don't know what we're talking about and don't have a map to look at, they could think it's plopped over by the church or something,
Any other thoughts from anybody?
I mean, for my part, I don't know where Jefferson is, so without the Main Street addition, I'm much lost.
I was going to say, would it be better saying on the west side of town? Is that better than saying Jefferson?
I think
people talk about Jefferson.
they do.
Okay.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be insulted, people.
Elizabeth,
No,
I just haven't lived here that long.
I
That's
know.
all.
I love it. No, that's great. I
No,
don't.
but Elizabeth, to be fair, when I had to drive my kids hither and yon, it would be like, well, where do they live? Oh, they live in Jefferson. It was like, okay, I know where I'm driving to. I'm driving
Right,
that way.
exactly.
I'm not driving just towards Sterling. So it
Right.
is-
No, I think it's just kind of funny that a lot of people, including people who live in Holden, don't know there is a Jefferson, but.
I know that. Can I tell you a quick story? If I ever a quick funny story, I think it's funny. My kid is he's 21 now, but when he was about 7, he has all of the primitive instincts that people have, including being kind of territorial for no good reason. And so for a while, when he was about 7, don't take this personally, Elizabeth, he would say, I hate people from Jefferson. For no good reason whatsoever, right? Absolutely no rational
My
basis.
goodness.
Yes. And so one day, apparently, he said this in school, and some poor little boy burst into tears.
Oh,
And it was purely like this primitive the same instinct that makes people from, New England vote for the New England Patriots up against the, LA Chargers. You know what I mean? That same kind of primitive territorial, that's the word, territorial instinct. It was completely irrational. No one from Jefferson had ever done anything to him. But it was just like this territorial thing. It was so wild.
Yeah,
And
that is-
fortunately, he's outgrown that particular one anyway. Yes, Elizabeth, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
It was just kind of wild. This poor little boy. Anyway, so Al, I hope you're still on here. Oh, Al, are you still on?
I don't
Okay,
see
Al.
him.
He's there.
He
I
just
see.
unmuted himself. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hi, Al. So this one is another one that probably needs work. And
In my experience, it's
Yes.
not, maybe it's done differently in Holden, but usually the developer will provide calculations on the expected water and sewer usage, and then the town determines if there's adequate infrastructure. So I'm not sure the developer.
Well, typically, DEP has numbers. So it's 110 gallons per bedroom.
Okay.
I guess this sentence this sentence might be construed as, oh, the developer could convince the town that there's adequate infrastructure and we would just fold, you know? I think the town has absolute authority to say, no, you're going to use X amount of water capacity and you need to put in a new water line or something like that.
Okay. So should we say the town can decide whether a particular development has, how would you rephrase it?
Well, the town will decide whether there's adequate infrastructure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a fact. The town is going to decide whether there is, and they're going to use the numbers that DEP tells them to use. I'll
Okay.
tell you all the time, developers want to come in and say, well, people don't use as much water and all the water saving devices that we put on the plumbing, and can we not use 110 gallons? And DEP always says no. So there are changes afoot. It's the Title V numbers. So you take the Title V flow, and that's your water flow also. So they're trying to change it, but it's not changed yet.
Right. And I know Al has concerns about our sewer capacity.
Right. The other thought I had is, can we just say that we're certain that there isn't capacity?
That's a loaded question, I think, in terms of the
I think
sewage.
it's complicated.
There's
So,
probably water capacity, but the sewage is a harder question.
right. Al wrote me a long email about this,
Yeah.
which I think it's complicated. I wish Al was talking.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay, Al.
The issue is whether we're going to get a town professional to stand up before town meeting and give the following facts, that in fiscal 22, we were so close to our allowable sewer capacity that the current DPW director says that based on Title V, 110 gallons per bedroom, Holden may have the capacity for no more than 241 new houses ever. And that doesn't include the 96 or so that I know are coming in Salisbury Street, Pine Tree, plus whatever else is already in the pipeline. Essentially, the town is out of sewer capacity. There is a physical limit to the sewers which exit the town down at the Worcester line. Now, the problem is, if town officials aren't willing to stand behind that fact, I'm not.
Well, it's not as black and white as that, though. I mean, this happens all the
It is. Here's why.
No, I can tell you, this is my job, Al. I do this every day. This is what I do when I go to work. I have these conversations. So what happens is, if you are at your capacity and you still want to have development, you need to go fix your pipes. So we will give towns credit for taking out infiltration and inflow, because that clean water is taking up water that you could be using for sewage. So we have a lot of towns and districts that have consent orders with the state saying, we will reduce eye to eye at a ratio of X, and in return, we can have additional capacity. The physical constraint is a different thing, but in terms of the volume that's going through there, I don't know specifically for Holden how up to date we are in our I&I management plan, but there are ways around it. It's not like we don't have capacity, end of story.
Our unique situation is the then MDC has a legal agreement with the city of Worcester in terms of how much sewage Holden can put through the main trunk sewer into the city.
Right.
Holden's not a fan of that, but the fact is it's an existing agreement, and it's based on the physical capacity of the pipes as determined by the design engineers.
Right. So the physical capacity,
Holden's been working on I&I. I've been out as director for 23 years now. We've been working on it for at least 27 years, removing it. Whether there's any possibility of well, there's always a possibility because it comes back the minute you're done with your project.
exactly.
But other than the fact that you're chasing your tail, the point is that the availability of that trunk sewer is just about nil. Now, is anybody willing to say that or not? I mean, I think we need to be much more aggressive. When I say we, first of all, let me back up and say if the selectmen aren't going to get behind this vocally, and if the town manager isn't going to get behind this vocally, we might as well fold our tents. That was the problem the first time around. They said virtually nothing. Are we going to have any support this time for sewer capacity, for water supply, for anything?
Right. Well, one thing I've been wondering about, Al, that's relevant to this, that's something I've been thinking about that's relevant to this is, you know, we may be on the cusp of getting a significant settlement, financial settlement from the town of Worcester, right? City of Worcester. Some of which it seems to me we could potentially use to expand sewer capacity. It seems to me.
Linda, I'm sorry, but the problem is a physical one. It goes all the way, not only from the Holden Worcester line, right through the city of Worcester, down through Webster Square, all the way down to the Millbury Treatment Plant. Those lines are at capacity. They are full. And nobody's going to give us more sewer capacity. And the interesting thing, one of the engineers who used to work for me, a nice young qualified engineer, who was instrumental when we were talking about sewer capacity and these new trunk sewers and the agreements and all that stuff. He's now the Commissioner of Public Works for the city of Worcester. So he knows as much about this probably as any 2 or 3 people on the face of the earth.
He's an awesome guy.
They're not gonna let us off the hook, especially when they're looking at a $20-30 million settlement there.
I see. Okay. All right.
If you think they're going to go to bat for us, let's take another tack on that one.
No, they're not.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. So let me think out loud for a second. One possibility is that they could build their own sewer, right? The developer could build some.
You could have a groundwater discharge permit, but it takes a lot of land.
Right.
You couldn't do it at Halsted for sure. There's no way you could do it there.
But you could do it at Trap Rock, right?
They probably have lovely soils for percolating, and they're, huge amount of land.
Right. So they could do it.
The economics of the project probably wouldn't work.
Well, right. That's the point Al's been making. That would make that a hard thing to develop, and so, okay.
What do people think of the language I just wrote? The town will determine for any new development whether sufficient capacity is available. If new infrastructure is needed, the developer, not the town, will be financially responsible for extending utility lines to their developments or installing on-site sewer treatment infrastructure.
Sewage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think, I don't know. I think for the time being, for the purposes of this particular project, that's okay. But Al, I do hear you, and I'm trying to, yeah, I hear you, and I have to think about how to approach that from just the general select board perspective. That's the thing I have to think about. What would we have to do to change that, Al?
Well, I think it's a fair question is whether the select board as a whole is behind this or not. I mean,
I don't know.
all your meetings on this, and I don't know. Do you?
I have no idea where people are on this, not a clue.
And the other thing is the town manager's made a very distinct point that town funds can't be spent to advocate for a town meeting article, and that's true in terms of spending public funds. But town managers in the past have appeared on HCTV, as have selectmen. There needs to be some vocal support for this by town officials. And I don't consider this group a town official in that context, because we don't have the weight that your board has.
Right. No, I
And
agree with
the
that.
other thing I'll comment on, frankly, we got to be more aggressive. I mean, I'm looking at this. I was looking at the questionnaire. I'm looking at this. I've watched all your meetings, and we got 3 points. Number 1, not in my backyard. Number 2, not in my school district. And number 3, God forbid people should come into town that don't look exactly like me. That's what your citizens address people have said time and time again. And we need to be, or somebody needs to be, much more aggressive and in their face with their, first of all, their assumption that if this goes through, 750 dwellings are going to be built next year. Selectman Renzoni said that's going to be built within 3 years. That's insane.
That is insane. It's not
We
true.
refute that aggressively. And I just, I fear that there's not enough aggression here, frankly, in what we're proposing to do. And I don't know who could pull that off effectively.
Okay, when you say there's not enough aggression here, tell me more.
Well, first of all, as I said, your board's got to get behind this, and/or the manager's got to get behind this, and tell people. I mean, I hope that the town respects your board and respects the town manager. But if you're both silent on it, as you were totally the last time around, no one said literally word one when this came before the meeting.
Right. Well, the last time, frankly, I mean, the plan came just from the town manager. We got a very last minute explanation of it. We got a very last minute explanation of it. And I was very, frankly, ambivalent about it because of the whole issue of toxic sites and yada, yada, yada. So to me, this is different. I mean, we talked about planning our community outreach this month. Doing some initial outreach this month in terms of trying to disseminate our survey, which we're behind on, frankly. And then doing, meeting with people, et cetera, in January and maybe early February. So that's what we had talked about. And, we do want to have a community meeting. One suggestion I've had is house parties, which I'm quite willing to do. In addition to reaching out to, folks in different districts in town, which I've been working on, and reaching out to other local organizations, although we haven't had much luck with that. I mean, Mary Jude talked to the Wachusett Chamber of Commerce. They're like, well, we're not just Holden. We're a multi-town organization. So no, we're not interested. I talked to some folks about the Garden Club. No, not interested. The Women's Club. No, not interested. So that's proving to be frustrating. So frankly, I think house parties might be one of the best ways to go about this. In addition to meeting with the meeting with folks at the senior center, maybe, and then having a community meeting. I'll probably end up meeting with the Republican Town Committee. That'll be fun.
So, I mean, I agree with everything that Al said. I just think I come out in a different place at the end of that, which is you're not going to change people's minds. You're just not. And somebody on this call said, it's us or the state. It's not that it's not going to happen. It's how much agency do you want to have over the decision-making town of Holden?
Right.
Would you like to decide this, which people have thought very hard and long and debated and come up with things? and this is what we've presented to the planning board, to the select board, or the state can do it.
Right.
And James, not to put you on the spot, and feel free to say no, but you had said at one of these meetings that you had thought one way and then changed your mind based on just that it's going to happen, and shouldn't we, am I getting it wrong? I thought you.
No, you're 100% correct. You're recalling my.
You cogently put that, like, I was not here, but I am now because of the state.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'd be willing to stand behind that statement in a more public manner. I think what we have is a good plan. I wanted to be on this board to put forward a plan that I would approve of, with the expectation of is, if as a pretty harsh skeptic of the law thinks it's a good plan, well, I think that would convince, I would hope that would convince additional people. So, yeah, I mean, what you said is that you interpreted my statements correctly.
So what do you think? I mean, coming from that angle, what do you, Al, here are the facts, here's this, we need the select board to support this, we need the town manager to help by saying things in public. Will that sway people? Like, what is it that people need to hear who are skeptics? Because there are a lot of them, and they're the ones who are going to be vociferous.
Well, I think it's some might interpret it as fear mongering, but no, this is the case. This is what the state is going to do, and the state is, in my mind, going to want to make an example of somebody. And I mean, they've had their go at Milton, and I think because of our initial disapproval to it, we might be next on the list. And no, I mean, whether our pockets are full enough to truly contest it, I don't know. But yeah, that's my main fear, is that we shouldn't have to get to that point. What we have here is a good plan. And
how do we
if
tell
people have
people
concerns
that?
with them?
So does the town manager carry that message? Does the select board carry that message? Who can help with explaining that? I mean, I'm not sure.
It's the town manager's role.
Right. And
I think it's also, I mean, it's partly on us as well to voice it. We're the ones who decided it.
Right.
The town manager didn't. I mean, he was on the calls, but I mean, he wasn't the one making these decisions. He didn't vote on it.
Right.
So
Right.
we do need to stand behind it.
Right. Well, I think and again, not to speak for other people, but I think what Al is saying is we've made these recommendations, and now we've passed it off to the planning board, who passes it off to the select board.
Right.
And at some point, that's who's responsible for putting it forth to the people.
Right. Right.
How do we,
Well,
how do we,
Somebody's going to have to sit in front of a group of people and just, they're going to have to voice their concerns. It's,
yeah.
so at this public forum, is that what you're picturing?
Yeah,
Yes.
with
That Linda's talking
specific
about?
guidelines.
Yeah. And then, James and I had talked about talking to parents in Mayo area, Mayo district, or catchment area. And then Will and I were going to talk to folks within the Dawson catchment area. There's another select board member, Will Holmes, who's a select board member. Another select board member, Christopher Faulkner, is also interested in participating in some of our outreach one way or another. Yeah. So you do have 3 select board members who are willing to go to bat for this. And the town manager, I think he's been helpful in this process. I will say that, but I don't think this is the way he would go about things. I think he's very capable in a lot of ways. But, perhaps because of that, or because for other reasons, he likes to I think he likes to do things the way he likes to do things, if I may say that, somewhat confidentially. He's been helpful. He has been helpful on in this process. He has, and I appreciate that. But it's not. I don't think it's the way he would do things. So he liked his plan. So, and I don't know if he would have changed it. There wasn't anything forthcoming, over this summer. I was kind of thinking maybe he'd put something else forward after it went down, after the original plan went down in May. Nothing was coming forward, and until I started thinking, well, what what can we do to make this move forward in a good way, right? And I thought, well, I haven't seen much in let's get some public input. Let's get a group of people together to look at this thoughtfully, and come up with a reasonable plan. So.
Well, since we're on the topic, I think it's a big part of the town manager's responsibility to steer the town away from the negative consequences that come with not complying with this act.
Right.
And once a solution to the requirements of this act are on the table, I think it's incumbent on him and town leadership in general to champion this solution and strongly, strongly highlight the negative consequences of not ultimately complying, which I think is what Al is getting to.
Exactly.
It needs to be highlighted at the highest level and pushed strongly through town government. And ultimately that comes down to the town manager and the select board.
Right. And three of us are definitely on board with doing that.
Yeah.
We have one very vocal, who we all know, very vocal select board member who has been voicing his opposition. And although there's sort of a tradition that, once a decision's made, a select board member is supposed to support it. That's not necessarily, it's not, a law. So, he isn't absolutely required to do that, I guess. It's frustrating because I've looked into this. And he's very, he's an effective presenter. He brings his own facts to the table. Let's put it that way. He, which, as far as I can tell, are not based in research. And so, oh boy, thank you for reminding me. Thank you. So anyway, so we have to, that's what we have to go with. So, so anyway, that's all something to consider. So it's not going to be easy. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be easy, but I really hope, I certainly plan to put a lot of time and energy and effort into supporting this. And, if there are public statements that we need to make at the select board level, which I have actually, maybe I'm happy to do that and to continue doing that. So, what can the select board do specifically, would you say? In addition to having a public meeting and those sorts of things, what can we do? Al, what are your thoughts about how we can be more aggressive about this?
Well, first of all, by making a very strong statement the night of town meeting.
Of course.
Supporting it and enumerating the facts for it. And one thing that hasn't been emphasized is I think we tried to be at least a little bit careful in selecting our zoning areas to select, in terms of the trap rock, certainly land that is not going to be readily developable and may never be developed. And that's something to be reinforced, because the thing you consistently hear time after time after time is the fact that there are going to be 750 units in town. This is what all your citizens address speakers start with. And nobody even refutes that. You sit there passively and say, yeah, there's going to be traffic and there's going to be school impacts and there's going to be, yeah, if they're all built overnight, there is. But the fact is they're not going to be built overnight. And with our care, some of them may never be built. Those kind of things have to be aggressively refuted on the floor of town meeting, and I don't know who's capable on your board, frankly, of doing that.
Mhm.
The town manager could, I think, if he wanted to. He's a very effective speaker.
Yes, he
Somebody
is.
needs to. Otherwise, you may talk to this group or that group before the fact, but the night of town meeting, you're going to have 150 parents there from Dawson School.
Right.
Not to mention the Republican Town Committee and whoever Selectman Renzoni has been able to reach. That's who's going to be there.
Yes.
And those are the people you've got to try and convince.
Right. Right. Yes. So, I mean, my way of characterizing it is that this is a long-term plan. That the Halston Halstead site is a, a potentially short to medium term site. And it's a plan for gradual development. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a plan for gradual development. So it's a plan for, yeah. And so, Halstead is, more likely to be developed, on a, let's say, maybe I would say medium term basis, and Trap Rock is more of a long term development. This isn't going to happen overnight. And I'm going to mention, actually, people in the Dawson area all upset about the Pine Tree Estates. Ken, you mentioned that Pine Tree Estates, the developer there, first approached the Conservation Commission in 2010. And
Yes.
what?
Yes, roughly.
Yeah, roughly in about 2010. And then um, the town manager just told me that it really didn't start getting underway until about 8 years ago. And I checked the date of their hearing before the planning board, and that was 2019. So one point I'm going to make is that development does not happen overnight in Holden. It does not happen in 3 years. And I'll give that example that, the Pine Tree Estates folk first met with the Conservation Commission sometime around 2010, and then their planning board hearing didn't happen until 2019, and it took a couple of years before that for them to develop their plans, to develop something that they brought to the planning board. So this is not going to happen overnight. This isn't. So does that help a little bit? Does that sound like a reasonably convincing argument, Al? At least part of it, part of one?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good.
Okay. And I might, one thing I might say is, at one of our first meetings, I said something like, this is one of those moments when I wish I was 6'6" and had a booming bass voice. um, I might my thought would be to do that after, we hear some opposition from, a select board member or whomever.
I apologize. I need to hop off now.
Okay, James, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
You
Thank
guys
you
have a
very
good night.
much.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night. So,
Thank you.
okay. Well, okay. So anyway, we still have a quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. 5. Okay. 6. All right. So, let's see. So that's what I'm going to point out. That development in Holden simply does not happen fast. And I'll talk about Pine Tree Estates and how long it took to develop that. And as an example, that's one of the things that I will do. And I'll talk about how you can't see these developments from the road because, Al, you very wisely suggested a setback for the Trap Rock site and and Halstead is also not set back from the road. So not in either side are you going to drive by and see a lot of multifamily housing, that sort of thing. Does that make sense? I'll review it with all of you before I do it, if you want. I know people are probably tired of meeting, and we can talk as we go about how often we need to meet, et cetera, and so forth. So anyway, and I'll be a little bit more prepared to be more methodical in a presentation. But those are some of the pieces of what I intend to talk about. I think giving examples helps people a lot. So, all right, are people kind of tapped out at this point? Did we finish our fact sheet or whatever we're calling it?
I
You gotta
actually,
go?
no. My wife is bringing me dinner, but that's not relevant.
That's
Um,
nice.
No, I made some quick edits to the
Okay.
last section of the fact sheet that
Okay.
I wanted to run by people before we finish up.
Thank you. Great.
So what I was actually thinking is that this last question, well, they were two questions about whether the state would take away grants and whether the state could actually enforce zoning district. I thought we could combine it and just have one question that says, does it even matter if we don't comply with the MBTA communities law? Can the state do anything to enforce it? Are there any consequences? And then I would actually take all of this and pop it right at the top after,
Oh,
will the
interesting.
state require us to build all this housing? Or maybe even as the first question. I don't know. What do people feel?
That's an interesting thought. That is a really good idea, I think. I thought about combining them, but then I thought I really wanted people to understand that there are really two different consequences here. So that's why I separated them.
I mostly combined them because it made the question style of the prompt a little easier if it's more open-ended. That's
Right.
really the only reason I combined them.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I see your point. I like the idea of putting it at the top because that drives the message home, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What do other people think about that idea?
Yeah, I like moving it up to the top, and I think what Victor did, I get your point, Linda, about it is two different things, but I think
Yeah.
this makes it works, the way this is written now. It meshes with those two things. If anybody cares to pick it apart, it is accurate, so it's.
Right. Okay, let's move it up to the top then. That is a great idea.
Okay.
Speaking of being aggressive, that's aggressive and that's good.
Well, it is the point, I think. I think we all agree that this is the point, not the whatever word we were using before, but it is what people need to understand.
It is what people need to understand. I agree with that.
Yeah, if I can just throw in, since there are signs around town that say, is the MBTA Communities Act good for Holden, with the good crossed out and big no underlined. For no other reason, it's good for Holden to vote for the zoning districts because there is potential harm to happen to the town with the alternative.
Right.
And
right.
They can think about the potential harm for traffic and all the other issues that keep coming up and the people that don't look like they're moving in. But if nothing else, do you want the state to come in and control?
Yeah.
And do you want to lose this money? So
Right.
and if that ends up being our biggest selling point, even to me, that's really sad. I don't like to think that has to be the biggest selling point.
Right.
But it's putting that up front is something that people's attention can get drawn to right away and make them think a little bit while they look at the other stuff.
Well, I think it's what everyone has in common.
Yes. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yes. That we want to be masters of our own destiny, so to speak.
Right. Regardless of where you fall, nobody wants to have the state do it for us.
Right. Right. That's absolutely right. Yes. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. So I'm assuming we're not meeting next week. Certainly not on Thursday. Can we meet the week after that on Thursday at our usual time?
I'm just checking the date.
Okay.
While people are looking at calendars, if we want to book rooms for or a room for a session in January, we need to do that very, very soon. I did make some calls and I found availability at the Holden Municipal Light Community Room. I got the availability dates for the senior center. And they're fairly limited, especially the senior center. So I don't know if now is the time to talk about how many of these we want to do and what we'd like to book, because at least for those two settings, it needs to happen like ASAP. I got the dates 2 weeks ago now because we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. And I'm happy to call them back tomorrow or whatever and say, can we still get this room? I mean, can we still get this date?
So what are the dates?
How many dates were there?
How many do we want?
Well, we definitely want to have like an all community meeting. And then I wonder if it makes sense to have a meeting just for the seniors.
Well, Well, actually, let me speak to that as well, because it took until today, but I did hear back from the president of the Friends of the Council on Aging.
Uh-huh.
I guess she's been dealing with some illness. And I had asked her about having somebody from the working group present at an upcoming Friends of the Council on Aging meeting.
good.
So that would be held at the senior center, but our audience would be almost exclusively seniors, obviously.
Okay.
But we could still hold another meeting at the senior center for the general public.
Right.
And so the Friends meeting is January 5th, and she said she would give us a half hour. And she didn't put in the email what time, but I'm assuming, I think it's a daytime thing, like noontime or 10 a.m. or something like that.
Okay.
But then the potential meeting dates for the senior center to do something in the evening at Holden Municipal Light, I had 3 dates from each of those places in January.
Okay. So what are the dates for the senior center?
So the senior center, the 6th was available, the 26th and the 27th, and that was it.
Let's schedule the 6th, I think. Well, what do people think? Would it be the 6th?
Well, in terms of when we're going to meet again, if it's not Thursday that's Christmas, it's Thursday that's New Year's.
Yeah, it's kind of quick. Do you think we could pull it off by the 6th and get the word out?
That is quick.
I don't think so.
Maybe it'd be better to do it at the end of the month, I guess.
It still gives us time, right? Assuming
Yes.
that town meeting is
Well,
later.
especially that that website hasn't even been created yet, and this is a time of year when not much happens.
Right. I think that makes sense. I think the 26th probably. I wish it was the middle of the month. That would be better. But
Well, do we want to have 2? Because, my thought about the Holden Municipal Light Community Room is also a just kind of neutral place, and
right.
it might get people from a different end of town to show up if it was offered twice. And they told me at that phone call their entire week of the only things that were booked, honestly, were the 7th and 8th, and then going into the second half of the month, she didn't have anything booked yet. So we could do something the week of the 12th. There, as of last week, that was still available. They do charge a fee, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. The disadvantage of the HMLD, the Municipal Light Department, is that the Holden Community Television can't videotape there.
There's also not a lot of parking.
Parking, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. So I think we're kind of stuck with the senior center, unfortunately. So going back to, there was one date proposed for the 13th of January. Do you think that's Martin Luther King Day? I think we discussed that. What do people think Martin Luther King Day would be a terrible day to do it?
It's a
It's a
Monday.
holiday.
It's the Monday though.
Yeah, it's a Monday holiday.
The Monday is the 12th. On what I'm
Wait,
looking
I
at.
thought the Monday was I'm sorry. Are you sure about that? Really?
Well, I just pulled it up on my computer.
Let me look.
Let me look. Heck.
The 12th is Monday.
Oh, what was wrong with me then? Phooey. Are they all booked for the 13th already? Why did I think it was the 12th?
I think you had told me, is that when your other group had it booked?
They did have it booked, yes.
So,
If
yeah.
we can get the 13th, I think that would be better than the 6th or the 26th or 7th.
Okay, I can call them tomorrow and see if
Perfect.
we could override the current booking for the 13th from your other group. And
Just, tell them Robin Van Loo said we could have that date. Robin is the one who made that. Robin Van Loo is the one who made that appointment, so.
Well, does it make sense to keep both days?
oh, I like that idea.
So
I mean, if you keep both days, if there are people who were away for the school vacation over the long weekend and don't come on the 13th, but they have a backup date of the 26th.
right, we could do 2 community meetings. Why not?
What's the town meeting date? The
February 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah.
Or we could try to find, Elizabeth, were there dates in February or you only got as far as January?
I only asked about January. I'm sure I could ask about February.
Yeah,
So maybe,
yeah.
maybe not so close together if there's a date in February.
Yeah, if we could ask early February, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, early February. That's a thought too.
Early February for the senior center.
Correct, yes.
And I did hear back from the landmark that they would, if we if we send them an email with dates of these events, they'll publish them on the calendar.
Right.
Also, I think, Linda, you were in touch with Riley from the Wachusett Free Press, and they're
Yes.
willing to do more. We give them information, they'll put it out there.
Yeah, they'll put dates and stuff in their newspaper. Yeah. He said he was going to write like a fairly, extensive article, but then he emailed me back and said, no, just dates and, what did he say? I have it in my email. Hang on a sec. Let me look. Okay. Okay. Where's my town email? Here it is. Okay. All right. So Riley, let me do a search for Riley. Okay. Oh, phooey. Hang on, sorry. Of course, my email starts to rebel just when. All right. I think we're in business now. Here, he said, okay, he said, yeah, I mean, they're just going to give basic facts. They're not going to, oh, yeah. He says, adding a brief paragraph in our news biz section detailing the parcels of land the working group has submitted. Next step, as well as weekly meeting dates and times. Oh boy. So that people can join if they so please. So he wants to invite people to our meetings. So the thing is, I mean, members of the public can always attend, but they can always attend, but they're not committee members, so they're not going to be able to suddenly become committee members, right? But people can certainly listen in. At this point, they're probably going to get bored. So, because we're just going to be talking about planning for the senior center or whatever, right? So,
All right, so I'll contact the senior center tomorrow and try to get the 13th switched to the working group
yeah.
and ask about dates in early February
Yeah.
and maybe tentatively book a couple of them since we won't have time to. I can always cancel something, correct?
Right.
I'd rather have it reserved. I don't think Karen would be upset if we did it that way.
Okay.
If it doesn't conflict with select board and other board, they were the things that you didn't want us to have a conflict with, obviously, so.
Right.
Okay, and so when's our next meeting?
Our next meeting is, let's see. So we don't want to meet, I'm wondering if we could meet the week after Christmas, but not on Thursday, since Thursday is New Year's or New Year's Eve. We don't want to meet New Year's Eve either. What about the 5th or the 6th? Actually, the 6th would be better for me. That's a Tuesday. The Monday is the 5th. The Tuesday is the 6th. Could we meet on preferably for me the 6th, because I've got a deadline on the day of the 6th.
Are you saying an alternative to meeting on the 1st? So now you've jumped out another week, so I'm confused.
No, I'm talking, no. What am I saying? I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. I apologize. So next Thursday, so the Thursday after Christmas is, as you said.
It's New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Right.
So you're proposing maybe the 30th or something?
Yes, that's what I'm proposing. Thank you. 30th.
Right, so the
Yes.
30th is a Tuesday.
Yes, that's a Tuesday. Yes.
That works for me.
Does that work for you? Okay.
I can do that.
Victor,
I
does
can
that
do
work for
that.
you?
Yeah, that would work.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'm good with it, Ken Strom.
What, Ken?
I'm good with it.
Great. Elizabeth, how about you?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So I'll send out a date for Tuesday the 30th. I would like to see if Will can come or James can come, just because, I mean, one's a select board member and one is a convert. So I just think that it'd be nice if everyone could come, if possible. So anyway,
Do we want me to respond to Carol Upton from the Friends that somebody would appreciate being able to attend on the 5th to the Friends of the Council on Aging meeting, just so that can get, and then we
Yes,
still,
yes.
whoever's going to go would still have time to
yes.
talk about that before
Yes.
that date.
You said it's usually around noon. Is that what you said?
I don't know, and I couldn't find any of this stuff on their Facebook page or anything, which I was.
So I'm looking, I just happen to have the thing they send around for December. And
Is it in there? 'Cause
the meeting was on the first Monday of December at 10.
okay, perfect. Then that
They
must,
probably have a standing.
yeah. So, but yeah, guessing
Yeah,
it's at
that
10.
makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. So
Right.
I'll respond to her and see if we can.
I have a work meeting I have a couple, yeah, I have some work meetings that day, but I should be able to change them, or, yeah, I'm gonna just change them. So let me do that right now. Okay, well, I'll do
And if you
that.
want some company, I'm happy to go.
I would love to have you as company.
I may,
Anybody? Yes,
I
go
may
ahead.
be available. I'm not 100%.
Okay, great. That sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. Great, thank you. Let me change those. Yeah, let me change those meetings. So, okay, great. Yeah, let's do it. So, all right. So, okay. And Elizabeth, would it be useful for me to come to the Council on Aging meeting? Oh, I'm going to probably come to that meeting anyway. Would it be useful to give people a little update, maybe hand out our fact sheet if it's ready by then?
Oh, that I'm looking at the calendar. That's the one that would happen on the 7th,
That's the first Wednesday.
first Wednesday.
First Wednesday, yeah, the 7th, yes.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
think it would be.
great.
If I leave abruptly, it's because my battery is dying.
Okay, no problem. All right, great. All right, it's been 2 hours again. I was thinking this might be shorter, but it didn't work out that way. But I think we got a lot of good work done, so thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everything that everyone is putting into this, all the hard work. So
You need a
thanks so
motion?
much. What?
You need a motion?
I do. Yes, thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
I
Okay, all opposed? All right, thanks very much, everybody.